my name is Bella and I wanted to talk about why I write, given that this is my channel where I'm going to be talking a lot about writing, creativity, and I think I'm gonna have many more other stuff on it, like I'm interested in talking more about history and things. I thought it was a really good idea to talk about why I write, as I am going through a time where I kind of feel unable to write. Every time I try to do it, I'm just coming up with all sorts of excuses. The first one being scrolling, because I'm going to find something, right, that changes my life. That's why I installed TikTok. I feel the guilt of not editing has compounded for the last, I don't know, 6 months or something. And I don't know if this is kind of weird, but I'm filming from a place where you can see everything, like the neighbors across from me, or you can see into their windows, they can see into ours. And the neighbor usually does this, she likes to look into this exact room and she'll really look in, and she was just looking directly at me as I'm talking to myself in her eyes, which is really awkward. So I said that the guilt of not editing for a couple of months been compounding for ages. I haven't edited it to the point that I want. Sometimes I start to write and then it feels like I am just being consumed by fire. I don't know. Maybe it's mostly emotional. That's why I thought it was a good time to talk about the reasons why I like to write, because maybe it will remind me why I like to do it, and in doing so maybe I will whip myself back into writer mode. In March I did get a full manuscript request on my birthday, actually, for an editor, because I went to a conference for writers. I have kept that one mostly to myself. I have been working on my book for a really long time. It's a fantasy that is set in a Mongolian inspired world. I definitely went crazy with the descriptions of the beautiful steppes, and also I do use a kind of Mongolian Chinese-esque cities, but definitely me growing up in Scotland, there's a lot of influence from that. Naturally, everything I would do would take all of these cultures into one, because that's what people do, right? They take what they know and then they turn it into something, and that's what I done. I have been a writer for a really long time. I mostly got into the fiction writing a couple of years ago when I started my first book, but I had been writing a lot of different short stories before that. Very short stories that I never really done anything with, but they were just outlets, I guess. And I have been journaling for 20 years. Yeah, 20 years. I've been journaling since I was a little girl, and I still journal a lot, maybe a bit less because I've been doing so much writing, like different Substack articles or blogs, and then also doing short stories and this book at the same time. I also spent a large portion of my teens songwriting. Yeah, I used to play the guitar and I would make songs as I went, just coming up with random tunes, and I think that used to help a lot because I used to love performing and things like that, like acting and plays and in theatre. So I think when I combine the performing, I guess I end up doing a lot better. But I do like to write as well. I'll talk about more about why writing kind of became the main medium for me. I should also talk about the fact that I finished my book because I ended up with a really bad chronic illness after COVID. Sometimes it's known as like long COVID. It kind of takes in a lot of other illnesses within it, and one of them was POTS, and I don't really want to talk too much about it, but I was kind of like very bedbound and not able to walk for a really long time, and it did feel like almost 2 years where I really struggled a lot. And during that time, that's when I started writing. I started writing because I actually read one of my all-time favorite books now, which is The Cruel Prince, and I wanted to create that kind of escapism, that kind of really fun world and story, but Mongolian inspired version of it, and something that is me. So that's why I started writing the book, and I wrote it many times, got rid of it about twice, like completely scraped it and then restarted, because I just wanted it to be the best version of the book. And yeah, like when you're unable to walk around or do anything, you can't do any hobbies that you used to have, being able to write was honestly really amazing. Yeah, I think it really helped with the healing process. I also have a lot of ideas all the time. I'm constantly making up stories in my head of people and situations, sometimes fictional and sometimes real, and sometimes they're really dramatic. This was like a really good outlet for me to, you know, come back to the real world in a sense, as in not just be up in my thoughts, because everyone's always telling me you live in a fantasy world. Having a concrete world, well, a written world where different things happen to characters, it really felt satisfying. It was satisfying this really big creative part of me. If I don't do something about, like, I'll probably explode with madness or something, even though writing is kind of madness at the same time. And I really like stories, and I love stories and being immersed in someone else's story, but there's just something about the fact that anything could happen and you have so much control. You, like, the world is your oyster, even though my characters end up kind of controlling me, but the fact that I can do anything with it is kind of really amazing. It really is. Related to like the healing aspect, I think your subconscious can process a lot of different feelings and stuff that maybe you're not consciously aware of. So I feel like it can be that outlet for me as well. I also write because I guess it's expressing my inner views and thoughts and experiences in this world, which is going to be very unique. Everyone has their own unique world, right? Mine is unique to me. I also never really read any stories of people who had similar backgrounds to me in any shape or form. So it is my way of helping or healing my inner child who gets to see this, and for anyone else that gets to see themselves in my stories. That's why I also like the idea, and I also like writing, because I want to share it with people one day. Related to that, I guess there's an inner feeling that just kept up the momentum of me writing. Just this feeling that I just have to keep writing, and the idea that I could share it one day and someone could get joy, or they could see their pain within the story and it helps them in any way. that sounds really amazing for me, because a lot of the different stories that I read and loved as a child, even as an adult, they have stayed with me, and I think they will always stay with me. So to me, writing and art feels more than entertainment. Don't want to just entertain people. It kind of feels spiritual, I guess. And related to that, I think as life keeps happening to me, you know, like when I got ill, I thought life paused, but it felt like life had moved on all around me, and I keep getting older. So it really did make me think that life is really finite, even though I am still really young. But I do feel like getting that ill also makes you feel like you were kind of dead, but your body was still there. So in a sense, I feel a lot closer to feeling what it would feel like if I was really a lot older, and what I would be thinking in my life. There's a place for my creativity, and to think that maybe my stories, like my books, could last longer than this finite existence as this exact person, because I kind of do believe in reincarnation and things. So even if your soul went on to live different lives, it will never be like, I'll never be this exact person with this exact life ever again. So this version of me might be able to live on through the story or something, even through my family, like if they kept the book around, even if it's not with the world. So I guess that part of the legacy kind of sounds really amazing, and I feel like it's worth it to keep going. And I feel like before, I used to have, like, I still have a lot of guilt around writing and doing creative things, because I felt like I had to pick the more stable career paths. It had to be more logical. I even did go and study computer science and things like that, and I did work, good corporate job, etc. And afterwards, when I got sick, that was when, you know, it felt like I had another chance. So I feel like I have been given a chance to now try out the creative life, even if it's more unstable. I don't know what will happen with it. So I've been working through a lot of guilt, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing the creative stuff and I should just be doing other things, putting my talents to use somewhere else or something like that. But I just really like stories, and I like storytelling, I guess. It's just what I like. To wrap it all up in a way, I obviously absolutely love writing, and I guess it's been kind of like a big outlet for me, where it's not dependent on different factors. It's not dependent on being young or old, or looks, or physical strength and health as much. Like, you still need a certain level of health, but definitely not the level you would need for other things like sports or something. I definitely appreciate that aspect of it, and it's just really fun because there's characters that I've made up, and I'm allowing things to happen to them, and then also I get to know what the story is, because I'm a bit of a pantser, and honestly, like, that aspect of it is so fun. I guess it's way better than consuming other stuff sometimes. I think these are the reasons I love writing, and sometimes I have even more reasons, but these were the things that I could think of at the moment. And if you also have your reasons for why you write, etc., please let me know, and subscribe so that you can follow my journey and see what happens, I guess, because I am also waiting to see what happens.